Hello everyone, my name is the Chemist77 and welcome to episode 44 of Farming Minecraft. Now, way back in episode 18, I think it was, we made this here little Wither Rose farm, a little design by ENX04, yeah, it's worked very well. I think we used it only like once or twice to get Wither Roses for our Wither Skeleton farm. As you can see, we've still got a fair few left in here. However, this was not the Wither Rose farm I originally intended to build. The original one I wanted to build was by Raysworks. However, as I showed in that video, it didn't actually work because I believe it was 1.19.2 we were in at the time. For some reason, Enderman did not take explosion damage, which meant that they couldn't be killed by the Wither. However, that got fixed, and I haven't built another Wither Rose farm yet. And as you can see around here, we don't have all of the gateways yet, and I'd quite like to get all the gateways, because I'd quite like to do a build around here at some point. We're getting to the point in the series now where I'm going to be probably building fewer farms as the projects get larger and larger, and so, each week we may start to do a little bit of building instead of farms. I will still call it Farming Minecraft because we're going to be using all the farms as well. But anyway, so today we are finally going to be getting rid of this. It served us well, and if you do want a quick and easy and arguably safer Wither Rose farm, then again, I will still highly encourage you build this. I will leave a link to my video on this and the original video on this in the description, as well as the video for the Raysworks farm that we will be using today. I have almost all the materials here. There are a couple things that I just need to get, because we're going to be doing something a little bit risky if we don't properly set something up. So I'm going to go get a couple little bits quickly and bring you guys back. Okay, and so we have a couple little bits extra, some glass, red mushroom, some podzol, and a bone block. And the very first thing that we want to do is put some black and yellow tape around this gateway here, for very good reason, as you will see in a second. Now, as if you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, you will know that through this gateway, we have our industrial district. It's a terrible pun, I know, but I'm calling it that. So we have all of our farms around here. We also have a shulker farm just over there. And in the interest of keeping all of my farms, or almost all of my farms, around in this area, I would like to build with a rose farm over here as well. However, if we go out this way, you can see there aren't really any nearby end gateways. Oh wait, yes there are. Okay, slight change of plan then. So, for reference, in case you guys don't have a gateway nearby here, what I was going to do was use this gateway here. Now this gateway actually links to the end island. Ignore the wither that's rendered there, that's part of the schematic. So this gateway here goes direct to the end island, which is why you don't particularly want to use these, because of course what we have to do is get rid of the portal block, which essentially breaks the gateway at the end island. I don't know exactly what happens if you try to go through it, but if I had to guess, the game would probably crash. So we're not going to try it. And so yeah, so I was going to build it here, hence the black and yellow glass around the gateway back at spawn. Also, it's really interesting to see just how close together hello Beam. Just how close together the adjacent island gateways are. However, because I'm apparently blind and didn't see that one, we're actually going to go ahead and build it over here. So I guess I can go ahead and show you how I line up schematics then whilst we're over here. Because of course normally I will do that before the episode begins. Hence how I can just then toggle the schematic on and off. So this one's actually quite easy because I have something to align it with. Obviously the farm has to be aligned on the gateway. I think I might just get rid of that, or those chorus plants. And yeah, so what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to open up our Litematica GUI. We're going to hit, okay, normally we would hit load schematic and do that. However, because I already have one loaded in schematic placements, we can change it here. So this changes the placement origin. What I'm going to start by doing is hitting move to player, and that moves it there. So the way I make my schematics, I do the most negative corner and then the most positive corner. And in this case, because the first corner is the most negative, it moves it there. So we need to move the schematic a bit. So what I'm going to do is when I'm in FreeCam, I'm going to line it up so I can sort of see the schematic and where I want it targeted in the same place. Again, we go into placements and we can just scroll like this until everything gets lined up properly. We can adjust the Y value slightly. And, oh, it needs to go up another block, I think. Yeah, there we go. And so we can see all the bedrock is in position. If I move this, you can see we get the ghosts slightly. And like so. Now, I'm not going to exactly build this because the collection system just collects all the pearls and wither roses. And they all mix together in the chest. Nothing's filtered. And yeah, so I don't actually want to collect the pearls. It's fairly easy for me to get pearls. I have an Enderman farm and a load of clerics that sell 1 pearl for 1 emerald. So what I'm actually going to do is stick an item filter right on this hopper here, probably coming out in this direction, and then we'll just have a bank of chests of that, which will collect all of the wither roses. But anyway, with the schematic in, we have all of our resources, including 8 stacks of eggs, obviously, because we need a chicken to attract the wither's attention. And so yeah, I guess without further ado, we can hop into a time lapse. And in my haste to build up the farm, I've forgotten one very important thing we need to do, and that is get rid of this portal block here. Which again is why you don't particularly want to build this too far away from at least another end gateway, because obviously you can't actually get back through here. And so what we're going to do is, I guess we'll use a few bone blocks temporarily, but we're going to try and align ourselves underneath the center block, and then we're going to want to go across 2 blocks to here, and we'll go up a few blocks as well, place our podzol, and then what we need is a temporary block. Our temporary block needs to actually be 1 above the portal block here. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so if we bone meal this mushroom, you'll notice it suddenly got a bit dark, and that is because the portal block has been replaced by the mushrooms. So this works exactly the same as when we break the end portal. And so we can then get rid of the mushrooms. And our temporary block as well. And you can see there is now no end portal block. Or gateway block, depending on what you want to call it. But now we can start building the farm up. And yeah, I don't think I've gotten a bit ahead of myself here. So right, let's actually get into a time lapse this time. Alright, so as we can see, we've got the main structure built up. I've also gone ahead and chucked in the item filter here and a few double chests. This will be obviously where our wither roses end up. And yeah, we obviously the water makes a bit of a mess, so I've thrown in a little bit of a dam around here. Like so. I've also added this dirt block here. This will eventually be removed. We just need this for when we put the wither in, and I'll get to that later. But for now, we are missing an endermite. So the way this farm works is it basically chucks an enderman farm on top of a wither cage. Because of the bedrock formation of the end gateway, it is basically a naturally generated wither cage, which is always very nice. I just need to get some iron so I can make a minecart. And so yeah, so we need a endermite to lure the enderman down this drop chute, which leaves them on one hit, so when the wither damages them, they just die rather than potentially teleport around somewhere. I'm actually going to need a few blocks, so we'll carve out some of the endstone around here, like so, and then I can pop my stuff away. We've got, obviously, a name tag to stop the unknown from despawning. It's called pizza. I was eating pizza the other day. Yeah, not much else to it. And, of course, we've got just over 4 stacks of ender pearls because endermites are just frustrating to get. Obviously, there's no enderman spawning up here at the minute because I've got torches. We will get rid of those once we actually get the wither, and I think it's probably going to be the best way of doing it. So we're going to make a little channel here. We don't have enough blocks. So I'm just going to use these warped stem that I apparently have in my inventory. And a crafting table as well. I just need to get some rails out. And we're going to need to make sure we have our name tag ready and our minecart ready. Yeah. So the minecart is going to have an endermite in it. That's going to be sat directly on this iron bar. And that will then lure the enderman in. So all we've got to do now is throw some pearls until we get an endermite to spawn. And we need to make sure we remember to name it before we put it in the minecart. Because otherwise you then actually can't name it. Ah, there it goes. So we've named it. Get in the thing, please. I might actually pop a totem to an endermite. That would be very embarrassing. Anyway, it is now in the minecart. It is also named, judging by the fact that I don't actually have the name tag in my inventory. And we need to make sure it's above the right block, which it is. So all we should have to do is break that. And we can break everything around it. Make sure I put all my tools back in the right place. And that didn't actually take too many. I think, what is that, 16 ender pearls it took? Which is about right. It's a 1 in 20 chance to get an endermite from an ender pearl throw. And if you didn't know, the endermite actually spawns on the block you threw the ender pearl from. Just a fun little random fact there, which is why when I do the ender pearl, I tend to try and throw back and forth rather than just straight down, because then it puts a bit of a gap between me and the endermite. But yeah, so the endermite is now in, so this will now fully function as an enderman farm. We also want to put a little AFK platform a bit further up. So I'm going to actually make some of these endstone blocks into some slabs. I do have a stone cutter somewhere around here. And I'm going to put a little AFK platform up here. It needs to be basically 128 blocks above here. That way, if any endermen teleport the instant that they hit the ground here, they will immediately despawn and free up the mob cap for more endermen to spawn. Okay, so I've got a little platform just up there. It's made of bottom half slabs, so nothing will spawn on it. You could also just use any normal blocks and use torches, or you could use things like glass. Just as long as enderman can't spawn up there, it should be fine. Which means we should be ready to turn the farm on, which means putting in the wither. Our chicken here is all grown up, which is why I did it at the start. And so we bring our soul sand and our wither skeleton skulls. This may be a little bit awkward because of how the terrain goes, but basically we're going to put our T shape like this. And this means that the tail of the wither, and thus the wither itself, is going to spawn on this wall. That is very important because that is what's going to hold it in place within the bedrock here. Now, there is one slight thing to get around, and that is because, of course, when the wither spawns, it creates a big explosion. And the last thing we want is our whole farm, just getting exploded by the wither when we turn it on. And that is why this block is here, because what we need to do is place a water bucket just in here. So I'm gonna need to make sure I have some blocks so we can use some of this here scaffolding. And so what I'm gonna do is get up here, summon the wither, place the water in, and then try and get out of the line of sight, because obviously that block there is going to stop the water from flowing and doing weird things, but it's also going to mean the wither doesn't have immediate line of sight to the chicken, which is basically how we stop the wither just going mental and attacking everything. I probably won't talk much. I have my bucket of water here ready to switch to it. I might actually just pop that straight in my hotbar like so. And yeah, here goes nothing. It's going to be quite loud. Let's turn that off. So we should be able to break line of sight. And then if we come up from below here, and break that, it's not going to target the chicken because I got in the line of sight. That makes things a little bit complicated. The bedrock should stop it from breaking everything. I wonder whether logging out and logging back in will work. You can see, got the replay file saving there. In theory... Okay, yes, it looks like that has worked. And it is targeting chicken, which is very good. Now, for the most part, all of the skulls will just get trapped and exploded on the bedrock there. Any that do make it through will get flung up by the bubble column and sent harmlessly over that way into the void. I think you do have to be careful on some servers. I think that's very annoyingly loud. Let's see if that helps. There we go. You do have to be careful of some servers, I think, because the wither skeleton skulls can accumulate in lazy chunks and potentially crash. So that's something to be slightly aware of. But I mean, you'd have to be here loading this farm for a long time because it's very rare that the skulls actually get anywhere. And as you can see, because the wither is actually now on the chicken, everything's fine. Also, our chicken has laid an egg. But anywho, let's just turn this up a little bit. What we should now be able to do is go ahead, get rid of these torches. Pick up that scaffolding. And then fly all the way up to our little platform here. the wrong button. And we should see some Endermen spawning. Why are there no Endermen spawning? I know why there's no Endermen spawning. Because I've been really stupid. Oh, this is an absolute corker. I have not made an Enderman mob switch. What I have done is built this farm next to 3 end cities. Now, the way I've built my mob switches is using Zombify villagers because it's the easiest one. However, shulkers are also hostile mobs that count towards the mob cap, and so people often use shulkers to build a mob switch. Of course, I'm now sat next to an end city, and I'm pretty sure if I do log mob caps, yeah, we can see we've got a lot of shulkers loaded. So what I'm actually going to have to do is go ahead and run around and kill the shulkers, and yeah, then the farm will work. Now, I would do that now, but I am sort of running out of time for this week. So I will call the episode there, and I will probably go around and kill all the shulkers live on stream at some point. Probably next week on Tuesday. So yeah, start next episode, we will we will come back and hopefully this thing will actually work. But yeah, I can't believe I've done that. But that will do it for today. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a bit of an awkward episode today. I've been very busy this week, not had lots of time. I start university back again next week, where I'll be on my final year. And so yeah, bit of a weird episode this week. Probably should have prepared a bit more before I started recording, but it's fine. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!